What's up, guys? It's Bolt, and I'm back with another Remnant 2 build guide. And in this video, we're going to go over my Corrupted Savior balance build. And the theme for this build, not reinventing the wheel with this one, but I just wanted to create a build, specifically a range build, that is great at all situations. Just overall balance, has a little bit of DPS, has a little bit of movement speed, utility, has a little bit of damage reduction, heals, a little bit of everything going for it. And I came up with this build, and I'm extremely happy with how it turned out. It's on paper, you see it here, it looks pretty basic. You see a lot of stuff that you see in a lot of builds, but it's how it works so well with this weapon that I don't know, it just, all of this stuff synergizes so well. And with this build, guys, you should be able to clear gauntlets very, very easily with no issues at all. I've got my best time so far with this build, 48 minutes and some change for a full 19 out of 19 gauntlet on Apocalypse difficulty, with Idusa being the last boss of all bosses, of course. I will link that full gauntlet playthrough in the description and in the comment section below if you want to see this build in action in all situations. But let's just get right into it. Since this is a balanced build, since this is a generalist build, we went with the generalist skill for the hunter slotted in first. We got the hunter's mark. This is for our mobbing phases during the dungeons. This is during the bosses too, so we don't even have to worry about aiming down sights to proc the hunter's focus. It's just up, it's going on for us, and we don't have to worry about it. Set it and forget it kind of thing, and that's what the goal is here. But the wall hacks are amazing for the dungeon portions of Boss Rush. And then since we are using a fully automatic weapon as Sea Savior that benefits insanely well with the firing rate increase, we went with Bullet Storm. This is going to give us some big time damage, and the reload speed, the firing rate goes very well with the Corrupted Savior. And this is a mandatory amulet when using the Corrupted Savior, in my opinion. The Corrupted Savior freaking drains through your ammo like crazy. So we need to mitigate that by utilizing the Zero Divide necklace. Now, this isn't, in my opinion, a lot of people, this teeters in the gray area of being something that's overpowered, and it's not. To me, I don't think it's overpowered. It's very amazing for quality of life. It is overpowered on a fresh character. If you roll like a fresh character hardcore Apocalypse run and you get this, then yes. But this is more, to me, it's just more of a great quality of life necklace. I don't have to spam ammo boxes. I could just keep playing without having to worry about using items and consumables, especially since I know a lot of players do not like using consumables. And you get a little bit of damage boost from it, but there are so much better necklaces out there. But since the Sea Savior just drains through ammo so much, I feel like they go hand in hand, and this is a must in my opinion. Next, we have Anastasia's Inspiration. This is just a nice all-around ring. It's gonna, since we have 1 point into regrowth, we will have the haste active at all times. We have the perception trait maxed out as well, so this is giving us a 10% speed increase to like 11 different stats. But the main ones being firing rate, reload speed, and movement speed. Those are the 3 key ones. Plus, on ton of other great ones like consumable speed, evade speed is also a really big one. But those that reload speed and that firing rate is going to increase our DPS nicely. And with the setup that we have here, even though we're not min-max DPS wise, our burst is over 8k DPS, and our sustain is around 7400 DPS, which is pretty damn good considering how good we are at everything with this build. So really nice to have, and that movement speed to get you through those dungeons quicker, get those nice times. Love this ring so much. Burden of the Destroyer. This is not, you're not a stranger to this. This is just flat damage increase, which is nice. It's going to stack with our sharpshooter and all the other fragments that we have for a nice damage increase. I tried other rings to see if others would perform better, and this did perform the best out of all of them. You know, like stuff like Braided Thorns, stuff like Feeding Tube in order to get more firing rate from the rocket fuel. I tried Braided Thorns, stuff like that, and Burden of the Destroyer was being more consistent in terms of a higher DPS, and we don't really even feel the burden on it because we have such great range to make up for that with Hunter and the Prism. Probability Cord, no stranger to this. We have a pretty decently high crit chance on this build, so we get a nice juicy damage increase from it. It's probably the best damage ring in the game. And then last but not least, this is also one of the best rings in the game, in my opinion, just in its sheer versatility and survivability in Ring of the Robust. It gives you health, it gives you armor. Who doesn't love that? Just all around great for tankiness. And with this build, we do have a damage reduction of 50%, which is very respectable. We could take 2 to 3 hits, but since we are so our life regen is so high on this build that even if we do get hit, you just regenerate health so seamlessly and effortlessly. It's not even funny, because on our Enigma, which is a great mobbing tool, this is also very handy for those Naru dungeons where they spam enemies at you like crazy and you just can't get to all of them at one shot. And all Naru enemies are also weak to shock. Enigma comes in handy there. But the reason why we have this is for the Spirit Healer Mutator. This is a great mutator for just sustained heals on this build. We have 7 shots with the damn Enigma, so we will be healing quite a bit. Once you get hit, just spam them anywhere. If it's on an enemy, if it's on a wall, just shoot your Chaos Driver somewhere, and you just immediately start healing, and that's going to stack with our Tranquil Heart. And we also have Triage trait on here to further increase our heals. Really nice to have. You guys won't even have any issues with healing on this build. So nice. For the melee, we went with the World's Edge, and that's because we have the wall hacks with the Hunter's Mark, so we might as well utilize that and get little wall hack cheeky hits with our melee attack, because this does go through walls, and we have the Tainted Blade Mutator on there just in case you want to corrode some enemies or bosses or anything like that. Really nice to have, really nice quality of life kind of generalist melee right here that could just be good in all situations. And then the star of the show is our Corrupted Savior. Now, this went through a lot of changes. You know, when it first released, it was arguably one of the best weapons in the game. Then it got nerfed really bad and became one of the worst weapons in the game. And now it's in a good place where it's just a really, really strong weapon. A+ tier, maybe S tier. It's really amazing. The issues it does have is the magazine size and the ammo reserves. But Zero Divide does mitigate that. So unfortunately, you are kind of locked in with using Zero Divide on this, and you can't really take advantage of other necklaces. So that is the downside of the weapon. But the weapon itself is very accurate. The firing rate is great. The reload speed is great. It does very high damage in terms of burst and sustain. So it's just an all-around very solid, reliable weapon. And this is why I chose it to be on my generalist balance build. And we have the 1000 Cuts Mutator on it. That's going to help us with crit chance, crit damage, and reload speed. Very nice to have. The best mutator, in my opinion, to put on the Corrupted Savior for a range build. We're not doing mod build on this. So you're not firing the mod at all with the Corrupted Savior. You're going to keep your 5 stacks, and you're just going to go pure range on this. As for the armor set, this is a min-maxed armor set for the highest damage reduction for the medium weight class, and that is the Crimson Guard Shroud, the Red Widow Raiment, the Crimson Guard Sabatons, and the Crimson Guard Gauntlets. Now, if you guys want to change your armor set for whatever the case may be, by all means. I think this armor looks amazing to me. I love this armor set. It looks so cool, especially with the Corrupted Savior and the World's Edge. This is just peak fashion. But on top of that, you're also getting freaking min-maxed armor. Who doesn't love that? 50% DR, like I said, on this build. Amazing. And then the Tranquil Heart, and that is just for the passive heals to go along with our Spirit Healer and the Triage. And let's go over the traits now. Long Shot, Ammo Reserves are the respective archetype traits. Fortify is there for that tankiness. We want that 50% DR. Swiftness, movement speed is amazing on every build. Who doesn't love it? You want to move, coast dodge, weave, all that good stuff. Triage to boost our heals on this build. Gifted to keep our skills out there longer. Now, this is not mandatory. You just know me. I love using consumables, and this is if you do want to use Feeding Tube over maybe Burden of Destroyer or something like that. You want to have exactly 5 points into potency in order to use the rocket fuel. That'll give you the 30-second rocket fuel, so Feeding Tube could just endlessly spam it for you, and you'll have rocket fuel up at all times. Plus, it doesn't hurt that it helps all your other consumables as well. So if you're not using consumables at all, you can feel free to spec into something else with these remaining points, maybe some bark skin to get a little bit more tankiness, whatever you guys need for your playstyle. Regrowth, just 1 point, and this is going to have our Anastasia's Inspiration active at all times. Vigor, maxed out, of course. Expertise, so we can get them skills out there. Insight, this is a nice one to have too, just maxed out. We don't need Spirit, we just need Insight, and that's going to be able to sustain our Corrupted Savior stacks at all times. When you transition between dungeons in Boss Rush, you will not lose your 5. It'll go down to 4, 5, 5, 4, 5, 4, and then you'll be fine. So Insight, very nice to have to sustain that mod. And the Perception, very important. This is going to give us the 3% extra on our haste to give us that 10% speed increase to everything. Really nice to have. Nice DPS increase right there. And then a few extra last points into Spirit, and just to help with the mod a little bit. But this is not even needed. So if you want to use the 4 points into Potency and 2 points into Spirit to put into something else like Bark Skin, that's also an option right there for you guys. On to the Prism. Critical damage, critical chance, and firing rate. Firing rate benefits Sea Savior quite a bit, and I found this to be a lot better than stuff like weak spot damage or flat range damage. Firing rate was being a little bit more reliable in terms of DPS, so I went with that. And then the Prism itself is crit chance. Gotta have those crits, baby. The meta, of course, because it's freaking meta. We're meta here. Gunfighter, firing speed, and reload speed, very important to have on the Corrupted Savior. And Sniper, range damage, and the range. Now, this is the standard stuff that you want on most range builds. The Athletic is not mandatory. You guys can swap this out for whatever you want. I just love movement speed and evade speed so much. It's really difficult for me to play without it now. It just feels really nice, especially when you want to move through those dungeons really fast. You want to dodge very fast and get back right into the action. I really love Athletic. But some other good ones that you could use on this build would be Revitalized. That'll be the health regeneration and the skill cooldown. That's a good one to have. Or Longevity for your mod duration and skill duration. Not more so for the mod duration, but skill duration is really good. Hulk if you want some health and stamina. Things of that nature, but I prefer Athletic. That suits my playstyle. Feel free to put a fusion of your choice on yours, on your Prism. This is just a generalist range build. This could go on many different range builds, so really comfortable Prism to have. And of course, on a generalist range build Prism, you're gonna have Sharpshooter on there. It's 75% range damage. Who doesn't love that? Beefs up our Corrupted Savior quite a bit. And you see in the video that we melt bosses pretty damn good, even if we're not 100% spec min-max into DPS. This is a nice generalist, well-rounded build. Great for beginners, great for advanced players. Like I said, it looks boring on paper, but it is damn reliable. I'm really enjoying it. It's just so basic. I could just pick it. Like if I don't know what to use in any situation, I'll just pick this and I'm good to go. Bosses with weak spots, bosses without weak spots, it doesn't matter. This build has you covered, man. Really enjoying it. But that's all I got for you guys. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. Consider sharing it. Subscribe if you have not done so already. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.